Today I'm going to be showing you this super cool project that just uses Sharpie, pencil, and regular markers and just a little bit of water. And it's kind of like magic how the marker can change with just water added. The first thing you need to do is write your name and then flip over your paper so that your name is on the back and we know whose art it is. And then we're going to start our project. For this project, we're going to use some tracers. You can also just draw things by hand, but this can make it easy if you want specific things in your picture, but you might not be able to draw them very well. That's okay, we can use tools. So I'm going to trace this pumpkin first, and I'm making sure to hold my tracer in place while I trace. And don't forget to trace the inside. Next, I'm going to trace the ghost, and I'm going to try to put my tracer kind of close to the first thing I traced, because the idea with this is we want to take up as much space on our paper as we can. Otherwise, the marker at the end won't look quite how we want it to. So try your best to put things close together in your picture. I decided I kind of wanted to add some leaves around the outside, so I can add a few of them. And you don't need to do a Halloween or fall themed drawing. You can do whatever you would like. I've got lots of tracers, or you can use other tracers or draw whatever you would like. But just for this project, I wanted to do something Halloween themed because I'm excited about Halloween. Now, if you wanted to do something like draw a pumpkin without a tracer, it's super easy, and this is just a really quick demonstration of how to do that. You start with an oval, and then you draw C shapes coming out, starting at the top of your oval and going down to the bottom of your oval. And when you do that, you get sort of ridges coming all the way around, and then you add a few bumps at the top and a stem, and boom, you have a pumpkin. You can also fill in the rest of your space with some other things like hand-drawn leaves. I drew one here, and then I'm going to trace another ghost to fill up more space. And I actually forgot to trace the face, but I decided to make a different face with this one. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and just fill in the last of the space, and I did so by adding some heart-shaped leaves and some random swirls. The next step we're going to do is taking a Sharpie and outlining all of our lines. This part should go pretty quick since you already drew them out. Just a reminder, if you are using this in my classroom, you need to use a messy mat, please, so that marker doesn't bleed through and get on the table. You're going to trace every line that you have drawn that you want to keep. You can also choose not to outline a line if you don't like it, and you can erase it later. And this is how mine looks after outlining everything with Sharpie. Next, I'm going to take regular markers, and I'm just going to outline the inside of everything with the color I want that object to be. So here I'm starting with a leaf, and I'm going to make this leaf brown. So I'm just outlining right next to that Sharpie on the inside, because the leaf is brown, the stuff on the outside won't be brown. And you just want to try to outline as best as you can around that area. And that is the only thing you'll be doing to color it in. We won't be fully coloring these in because we want the magic part to work. So the only other thing I'm doing is outlining the middle line, and then I decided to add some veins to the leaves. This will actually add a little bit extra cool stuff in our leaves. As you can see here, I've outlined all of my things now. I outlined the ghosts in gray. I outlined the pumpkins in orange all the way around. The vines and the leaves are in green. And I did another one of the leaves in red. Next, I'm going to outline the outside of everything to make a background. So I decided to go with purple because I hadn't used purple yet. So it'll stand out a little bit better than if I had chosen like red because I already used red. So now I'm going to outline the outside of all of my stuff. So here I'm going around the pumpkin and on the outside of the paper, the edge of the paper too, because otherwise that spot will be without color if we don't add color there. And all the way around until you're done with each empty space on your paper. Now here comes the really, really cool part. What you're gonna need for this step is a cup of water and a paintbrush. You're gonna take your paintbrush, make sure it's clean before you do this, but you're gonna dip it in the water, scrape off a little bit of the extra water, don't tap because you'll spray water everywhere. And then you're going to paint onto your paper with just water to spread out your marker. So what happens is the water starts to activate the marker and causes it to kind of run into the middle of where you're painting. So when you're done with this, it'll sort of look like a watercolor painting, but with lines of more color. So it creates a lot of cool effects in your art. So this is how the finished product will look. This is all dry and it is ready to take home. And you'll notice if you look really closely that the marker has indeed ran into the middle. And sometimes it can blend in with colors next to it, but if you put colors next to each other that look cool together, then you can get some cool effects, like maybe it looks like it's glowing a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed this project and I hope you might try it again sometime.